You know, I would hear, hey, you're done, you're over, no one's gonna buy a ticket anymore, no one's gonna listen to your song. You had fun at the party, drink a cup of coffee, and sober up and become an adult now. And I started to believe that, and to now be here, it's absolutely insane. I'm still like, just looking around being like, oh my God, this is happening again. So it feels very surreal.
Greyson is on YouTube right now singing Paparazzi, which is Lady Gaga's song, and it's crazy how many hits this has now.
I left LA when I was 18 to go to school, and that was like my retirement. That's when I kind of really legitimately threw up the white flag and said, I'm not doing this anymore. And in a way, I remember that first year in school, like, I struggled to go to shows at first, because I had almost felt like my craft had been hijacked from me. I couldn't enjoy it anymore. And I would say, oh, I can't do that because I'm a pop artist. And I think it was me learning like, wait, you can still love pop music and you can still make pop music and keep that structure and be a bit more experimental, think a bit left of center. So I would study like the way Justin Vernon would cut vocals, or I would listen to the way that Robin would affect her synth sounds, and then I would just apply it because it's the things that I really love. So I think it was me becoming a music fan again and just realizing that there really aren't any rules. You can do whatever you want when you're an artist. The origin of portraits and sort of the theme of the record actually happened really early. I was shooting with a lot of my friends at the time, so I was modeling for, you know, different things, and we were looking back at these photographs, and in my head I was saying, wow, it's cool to see that these photos are representing different emotions. And I said, wait, the songs that I'm writing right now are the exact same thing. They're representations of how I'm feeling during the breakup I was going through last year, or how I was feeling leaving college and going back to music. And so once that happened, it happened very early on, even before I really started writing for the album, and that theme was consistent through the writing process. When we shot the cover for Portraits, I just remember feeling closure. You know, I was coming back into music. So many people had told me, hey, you had your one moment, that's your legacy, that's your story in music, that's it, you were a flash in the pan, and you're never gonna be able to write another chapter. And so Portraits to me was me saying, no, screw that. I'm gonna write a record. And so when I took that photo, I think I just felt an immediate sense of, okay, we did that. No matter what else happens, I did write another chapter. Some fans might get a bit upset when I say this, and I try to explain it as best as I can, but Portraits is my debut record. I didn't write my first album. You know, I might have been in the studio and I might have had an opinion here or there, but when you're 13 and signed to the biggest record label in the world, you don't really have a say in a lot of what you're doing, because you have to realize they're trying to reach a bottom line, right? And so for me, this is my debut record because it's the first time that I was involved in literally every aspect of it. Like, I had the Photoshop file on my computer of the cover, you know. We wrote the font out. I, you know, was there when it was being mixed and mastered. I wrote every word. You can look back at my past and I'm still proud of it and I'll stand behind it, but for me, this just feels like a completely new era, a completely new chapter in my life in music.
You can't even tell me what's the reason.
Goodbye, okay.
But you're addicted to a loneliness, that feeling.
Guess I'll see you another day.
You say it's in your
I just think I wanted to be completely honest. You know, that song in particular, when you're going through a breakup, it's the grieving process, right? Where you have different stages of it. I was pissed off the day I wrote that song. And I remember being there and I was thinking about Amy Winehouse, and I was just like, thinking about me and Mr. Jones, and you know, I Heard Love Is Blind, these records where she was just so specific, so honest. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's throw his initials in there and let's see if he can actually get a rise out of him. We still haven't talked, but whatever. And yeah, I wanted to be, I was pissed off and angry, and I wanted to be honest. I really struggled with it after coming out to friends and family about, okay, when am I gonna make this jump publicly? Because I think what my biggest fear was, and what the industry had already sort of taught and teased me about, was I didn't want my sexuality to suddenly become, you know, a promotion tactic of, okay, great, we have this audience now that we can really reach out to, and we should launch a single after this. I mean, the things that I have heard, like, it would gross you out, because it's just things that happen on the day-to-day in the music industry. When are you gonna come out? Because we should really time a release around that. I remember wanting to just throw up when I heard that. And so that whole process of me coming out to my friends and family and then waiting a few years, it really happened organically. It was spurred on by a message from a kid in Arkansas, which I can relate to really well, being close by in Oklahoma. And he just shared his story, and at the end of the message he said, "I know you're not gay, but I want to let you know your music really inspires me." And I think at that moment I realized that it was a lot bigger than me, and that I needed to have the courage to step up onto my platform that I, fortunately have, and say, okay, do something about this, spread positivity, spread an encouraging message. What I want to do as an openly gay artist is I want to create a safe space at my show for people to come and really truly be themselves. And I also just want people to know that their story is individualistic. It's unique to them, and to be open, be proud, but also be safe. And remember that you don't always have to adhere to the culture. Adhere to yourself, adhere to your values. That's the most important thing. And I think that all goes back to as well, like this record was the first body of work and first piece of music that I made where I really did not think about the end result. What I thought about was when I got dropped by my label when I was 15, crying at my house in Oklahoma saying, what's gonna happen next? And that's what Portraits is. Portraits is me fulfilling that promise to that kid that I'm still gonna fight, that I'm still gonna do what I love.